All right, on the bench today, out of a 2001 BMW 740i, we have the rear-wheel drive, 5-speed transmission, ZF5HP24. And this has your typical problem of no forward, or slips real bad forward. It did, we were able to drive it into the bay, but it slips real bad, it delays in drive. Reverse is fine, so we know there's something going on with the A clutch drum. Also, this produced a code of P0720, which is also typical when you have this problem of it not moving forward that great. So, being the fact that that forward is no good, reverse is okay, we know there's something going on with the A drum. And a common problem, as you already may know because I've done a few 5HP24 videos, but anytime you get a ZF transmission, I like to try to film it because it's pretty nice training to work on, and there's a lot out there with these problems, so anytime I get a chance on a ZF, I like to film it. So we're either going to be looking at a blown A drum due to a worn pressure regulator valve bore in the lower front valve body, or that's, of course, that skinny O-ring could be torn, creating a leak in the A clutch circuit. So we're going to open it up and see what we find, and regardless, just say, for instance, we are dealing with the problem of a broken O-ring, the skinny O-ring on the A drum. Regardless, I'm still going to change the lower front section of the valve body, okay? You can either get a new casting and a new valve, or I always buy everything the ZF-wise from Ericsson's, and they now have the lower front valve bodies that they sell with the oversized pressure regulator valve. It's a little cheaper than a brand new casting, and I've used those many times and I've never had a problem. So you can go either way, just that is definitely going to be addressed. The new A drum is going to be addressed regardless. New F clutch piston, because that's also a problem, debonding. So just your typical overhaul banner kit, filter, OE filter on the ZF5HP24s, don't go aftermarket. Been there, done that already. You will have some form of a noise, or a whining noise, or a filter noise, even though it's full and it's a rebuilt trans, so always go OE with that. And then I go with the Lifeguard 5. All right, so let's start tearing this down and see what we find. Let me get a little closer and we will begin. All right. Get this side switch off here. This bolts down at the bottom, but I had taken this off already. So let's get these wires out of the holder. All right, now we got a dowel here, so you really can't put this switch on wrong. You just got to make sure the splines are lined up. But even that, if they're not, it's really not going to go on either. Okay, so let's see how easy this is going to come off. Okay. I'm going to clean all this up here. Clean in here, so it wasn't too bad. Sometimes these things are a little tough to come off, but this one, I guess, was not that bad. Okay, put that aside. I'm going to get this retainer out here for the connector. We'll take that out. All right. Want to take the back section off here, these 13mm bolts. Okay. two mounts on each end here. Both are bad. Let me get my basket. I forgot my basket. This out of the way. All right, so there's an O-ring here. Of course, let me just place this down a little more so you can see. Okay. All right, so this O-ring here, of course, will be changed. There's going to be a shim here. Okay. Now this probably is not going to come out until I take the output speed sensor. This is the exciter ring. All right, so here's the shim. All right, now we're just gonna get the bell housing off. Get that out of the way, then we can flip it and pull the valve body off and finish getting the gear train out. All right, so that is 17. Still trying to find out what happened to my DeWalt. I'm still got my snap on. I sent it out for repair under warranty, and probably 3 weeks ago. And I don't know. I haven't heard anything yet. All right. So what we do now? I had a feeling I may have a little problem getting those bolts out. So. Just as bad. I think something happened to this gun. Sorry, folks. I gotta switch again. Really haven't been using it. I'm not sure what happened to it, but I'm going to have to check it out. Separate this from the stick. Get this out of the way. Okay. And then this come out. just find 27. It is. Bolts are coming out, nice and easy. Crap in the pan here. Looks like we're probably going to be dealing with a blown A drum. You can see all that crap on the side there. Get the filter. I'm going to say somebody probably serviced this at one point because there is an aftermarket filter. And that is a big no-no with this trans. You know, I shared a problem with you when I was doing one of these. We did a lot of these transmissions for a local Jaguar dealer. And when I did one, I would order the kit from my supplier, and I would say, make sure you send me, you know, you gotta use the good parts with this stuff. So I said, you know, the ZF kit, the exiting frictions, OE filter, okay. So at the time, the OE filters were probably cost me $39 or $40, something like that. Overhaul the transmission, give it back to Jaguar because they pulled them out. And job got done. I got a phone call. It's got a noise. So we go and pick the car up, and I'm driving it, and it sounds like it has a filter. You know, it's almost like a clogged filter. So I called them back. I said, "Did you clean out the cooler?" And they said, "We cleaned it out. We even, I think on a lot of these, the lines would get screwed up taking the lines out because a lot of times they would get frozen in there. So I think they changed everything when the transmission was out." And I called up and I said, "You sending me OE filters?" "Yeah." I says, "Well, I need another one because there's something wrong with this. It has a filter noise." Put another filter in. I got the same problem, same noise. So now I call my tech service, you know, not realizing, this is the first time that I realized with the made in Germany. So I get the guy on the phone and I said, "It has a filter noise." or it sounds like it has a filter noise. He said, there's probably not an OE filter in there, it's probably aftermarket. And then I said, well, I changed it twice, I got the same problem. He said, drop the pan, have the filter in your hand, and give me a call back. This one I can actually leave on for now. So I did that. He says, anywhere on the filter does it say made in Germany? I said, no. He says, you got an aftermarket filter. So that's when I realized about the made in Germany. So then I called my supplier back and told him, and he says, oh no, they're definitely from ZF, which obviously they weren't. So we didn't buy parts from him anymore. Because that filter anywhere else was $5. Okay. They're all 27s, but you got to get the larger bolt holes. Alright, so we got these. Let's just get rid of these. And here, here. I think the last one. Okay. Good for now. Alright, it's on a dowel. Let me just pop it off of the dowel. Alright, so one of the things we got to do, I'm going to push this through. Okay. And then we can lift this valve body off. Okay. All right, so the next thing we're going to take this feed tube out, because that goes into the center support. Then we got to get the little clips, springs, and seals out for the center support, and then we can get the rest of the trans apart. And now we're going to take this out, the park gear, and the exciter ring for the output speed sensor. Let me get my, it's out, it is not. Let me get my seal puller to get that. Okay. There we go. Okay. Now we got little snappy pliers here. Be careful not to go flying. You can get those little clips. You can get these little clips from Ericsson's if you do happen to lose one or two. Okay. Both of those springs and clips are the same. All right, now let's get these seals out. I'm gonna try to screw this into the seals. find something else here. Give me 1 second. All right, so these things are giving me a real hard time coming out. I managed to get a piece out here. These things are like very hard and brittle, and this is only half of it. So let me just try to get these out here, and I'll come back to you, but it may take me a little while. I'm using this and a seal pulp, actually. All right, here's another one. I screwed it down and I used my seal puller and knocked the bolt out, and there's also pieces of this one stuck in there too. But let me see if maybe I can get the center support out, and then we can just knock the rest through. So we're going to take out the C drum. Okay, this bearing I always change because it always goes bad along with the race. I'll show you the race when we get that apart. Okay, here's another bearing that's going to go there. All right, you want to make sure these bushings, there's 2 bushings in here. You want to make sure these bushings are good. If they are worn, you will lose, and I did a video on this, reverse, when real hot. Okay. Let's get this snap ring out. So you're the same both ways. Now, I don't know how easy this is going to come out. Okay. It's moving. Get this thing totally straight. The pieces. The other pieces are stuck in here. All right, here. So here's the other half of that seal. Maybe this thing will come out now. Might be tight because there might be another piece of the seal that's in there. Okay, so I managed to dig the piece out. And as if that was stuck in there, and of course, once I did that, this thing came out to here. Still have to get it perfectly straight. He's fighting me all the way to the end. finally, and these weren't even holding it anymore, just, things gotta be like perfectly straight. All right, center support is finally out. We got a planetary set. Rear planet, output shaft, and the F drum. Alright, so the F drum has its torque 40s. And what I'm going to do, let me just get my T40 socket, loosen some of them. I'm going to use my shocker, and then we'll do the last few together. All right, so let me get that going, and I'll be right back. Okay. These things here give me a hard time to come loose. I'm using my shocker here, and usually 1 or 2 shots they come loose. Some of these things is 4 and 5 when they're coming loose. But I got 3 left, so let's get those done. There's really no other way to get these loose. If you try to use a gun or something else, you know, it's you strip it in there, it's not fun. It can happen, but all right. So we got 2 left here. And you can get these from Ericsson's by chance if you do need any. Okay, that was it. So let's get them all out except for one. Okay, that's what they look like. This down, let me move the camera down. All right, there we go. Okay, last one. There's the F clutch drum. All right, so the case is stripped. So now, I want to get rid of this oil. I'm going to get set up to check out the pump, drums, the blown A drum. We'll look at the clutches. Even take a look at the F clutch drum, and I'll pull it apart and we'll take a look at the piston. No problem in reverse, so the piston is fine, but the pistons do get debonded, and you can really only go OE on these, because I do some work for this one particular BMW shop, and I don't know, I guess these people drive these cars and they don't like to spend money to fix them how they should be fixed. So the guy got an aftermarket piston, and I immediately knew it was an aftermarket piston because the OE pistons, you put some grease on the lip seals and it goes in no problem. The aftermarket piston, I couldn't get in. And I just said, you better hope this thing is going to work out. Yeah, no problem. I'm sure it'll be fine. And, you know, he's, of course, warranted the transmission for a year. 9 months later, it lost reverse again. And the piston was no good, the aftermarket piston. You turn the drum upside down and the piston falls right out. So then he got the aftermarket at that time. I'm sorry, the OE at that time. Put it in and got it taken care of. So you got to do these things the right way with the right parts, and it should work correctly. All right, so let me get set up, get rid of all this oil, and get ready for opening of the drums. All right, let's check this out. Clutch hub. There's a clutch hub, and yeah, we got a blown drum, all right. Yeah, even the crap in there scraping. And here is the race that I always, of the bearing that I change. This one is good, but it's getting changed anyway because it's a very common failure. Okay, these come apart, the rollers come apart, or the race gets pitted. So regardless, it's getting changed. Okay. A clutch hub, and wow. O-ring seems intact, but check out the drum. All right, bearing there. So the pressure plate is still good. I can clean this up, you know, just get all the slag off. I'll fix that up. I'm getting a banner kit for this anyway. But, all right, so there is our problem, and we already pretty much know what caused that. All right, so here is the bead. All right, and here, these, I mean, they're all going to be changed, but you got little fragments of metal and stuff in here. So the steels are okay, but the clutches are all embedded with the metal from the bad drum, of course. And that is the bead clutch. Okay. All right, so this is the D clutch here. Let me take these. See if we can get those out. I'll lose those. Okay, so these of course keep the drum from turning. All right. Okay, here is the E clutch. This is E clutches third and fifth. Okay, not bad. All right, and now there's a hub there with a couple of O-rings on it. And this goes right in here. So it's got a couple of O-rings on it to change that. All right, then you put the shaft in with the rings, and that seals the C clutch. Also, you got a bearing, that one here. All right, the C clutch. So here is the bearing that gets changed. Okay, the A and the C clutches are the same. Very nice. Take a look at the F clutch. A lot of times, you know, these clutches on these transmissions can be worn down but still look good. I remember on F clutch one time, but I always change them. But I says, it looks like a little too much clearance, and you look at the clutch and it looked okay, and then when you stack up the new ones, it takes up half the amount. I'm gonna find my snap ring pliers. Sprig. If you wanted to look at this sprig, you got to pull this snap ring out. And, you know, it can be done. It's a little bit of a pain sometimes, but I think on 1 or 2 occasions I've seen that sprig go bad. All right. Here's the F clutch. Now, what I want to do is take this split ring out. And let's take a look at the F clutch piston. And then we'll look at the pump. And I think that's about it, really. All right, so let me just get this ring out. We'll take a look at that, because that's something that should always be changed because they do debond. So just give me a couple of minutes. I'll be right back. Okay. All right, so I took the split ring out. Here it is. Sometimes these get bent out of shape, and Ericsson sells these also. But that looks okay. Right here, turn spring, and here is the piston. All right, so this one is good, but you know, of course, we'll change it. But a lot of times it'll start debonding, and then you lose reverse. So you know, 2 common problems with this is one is no forward and one is no reverse. But no forward is much more common than no reverse. Okay, so let's just open this up. We have a washer here. All right, then we have the 2 rings. And also, I'm going to, of course, change this drum. And it has the 2 rings here and the skinny O-ring here. So I have a video on how to install this drum, because you can't just put it down and kind of find its way, because you have a chance of tearing the O-ring. And also make sure, if you do these, I use the trans gel, not like the red wheel bearing grease that doesn't melt. And I load these things up with the trans gel, so when you slide it over, the stator over, the rings won't get caught or be torn. Okay. And that. Let's see. Okay. These should come out fairly easy. It's not like those other ones. So let's check it out. Okay. Leave 2 in. Now we're going to check out the flow control valve. Let's just screw these down a couple of threads. Okay. We have a dowel here. Will come out. Complete. All right, so it looks like we got these dots facing up. These pumps generally, they don't go bad. Okay. Gears look good, pocket looks good, bearing in here looks good. All right, now, I'm going to get this flow control valve out. I want to make sure that's all nice and free, because if that gets stuck, then the car will stop moving. right, so now we gotta find that 17. It is. Is it this one? 17? Oh, I'm sorry. It's a 19. I got that socket. Here's the spring seat. And valve. Okay, so that is how the setup looks. Okay. Okay, so this is ready to get washed up, but we'll do all that tomorrow. And then we have here, this can come off. There is an O-ring behind this. Okay, we have a washer here for a bearing race, and we have an O-ring here that we're going to change. And if you wanted to disassemble this, there is a snap ring here. You got to take that out, the race will come out. So, there's that. Okay. Planet with the bearing. This setup's usually pretty good. Okay, a sun here, and then you have another snap ring. And another planet. This setup's generally pretty good. Just take it apart, check everything, put it right back together again. Alright, and I think that is it. Let's just get the valve body over here. Okay, so this section here is the lower front section. That is the section that's going to be replaced. You're able to even drop this section only without taking the whole valve body out. All right, so you can do that. Another thing to look for on the upper rear section, all right, it tends to crack right along here, this section here, and the effect of that, when you come to a stop, it may drop out of speed, like you put the car into neutral, or you feel kind of like it's low on fluid. But, you know, I've seen that, I've had it, probably about a handful of times, not as common, of course, as the A-drum. So we found our problem with no forward, or slips real bad, or delays forward, also caused the P0720 code. This is an 01 BMW 740i, 151,000 miles, a ZF5HP24, and we found a blown A-drum. All right, so that's it for this video. I thank you guys for watching. Have a great day, and we'll see you next one.